What's up, everybody? Talking shit with Michal. Michal's back. Unfortunately, I'm gonna cover uh, shenanigans 101. I'm gonna try to break it down from my perspective. I'm no scientist, I'm no reporter, I'm no um, researcher or anything like that. I'm just gonna approach it from my own perspective, from my own mind, and how I understand the reality. And basically, I will try to break down this huge shenanigans of existence, upside down world, new world order that's upside the fuck down, and shit has been popping from stock market going kinda crazy, then coming back. Of course, vaccinations going hot, which is really, literally, it's frightening to me. And on top of it, there is like a war situation between Palestine and Israel. And not only that, the US had some sort of airstrikes, all this sort of stuff. I don't remember exactly who they are attacking, but US always is attacking somebody. Also, China, Russia, all those sort of shades of the story. And even if you talk about the country that I am from, Poland, basically Poland is like a communist country at this moment. Now, like I'm kind of exaggerating, but not a lot. So, basically, long story short, once again, I'm gonna talk about shenanigans. I wish I didn't have to, but unfortunately, and I actually didn't want to make this podcast, but then I thought about it. It's like I kind of feel like I have to talk about it. I don't know if if it's pointless or not, but I just want to talk about it because to me, it is outrageous what's going on, and also even the hypocrisy with the masks and vaccines. That's another can of worms. That's just what the fuck is going on. Ah, it's really crazy. But anyway, so I guess the latest thing that has been happening that worries me is the Israel Palestine thing because obviously I have no clue what is the real story, and I know the truth is somewhere in between. And in my opinion, and that conflict has been going on for like I don't know exact numbers, but like very long time. Like close to 100 years. Maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. Maybe it's less. I don't even remember when Jewish people really moved to that location, to Israel, whatever they have their own piece of land or whoever gave them. Like I really don't know the details, but I do know that there is obviously religious tensions, and also it's not only religious tensions. It's also, as far as I know, before it used to be people from Palestine land. So, if somebody would, let's say, if my family would have a piece of land for generations, and then somebody says, okay, get the fuck out of here. There is the chosen race going there and they're gonna live there. It doesn't matter how we look at it, how we holocaust this and that. Doesn't really matter. I would not be like, oh yeah, it makes sense. I'd be like, this has been my family's land forever. And I'm not trying to attack Israel and I'm not trying to defend Palestine. What I'm saying is, if you look at things the way they are, for what they are, it's not black and white issue to begin with. So, and I see a lot of people like defending Israel and also a lot of people defending Palestinian people and stuff like that. It's a very complex topic, and obviously, I'm probably not even in a position to really talk about it. But what I want to say, though, is that it's not black and white at all. And, Palestinian people have a lot of reasons to be fucking furious. And of course, people from Israel also have a lot of reasons to be furious. But let me give you some food for thought. I don't know the exact details, I don't know the exact numbers, but if you look even at this current situation, if you look how many Palestinians died, and how many people from Israel died, you could be fucking surprised when you see the numbers. And especially when you compare to, like, let's say, media coverage or coverage in general. Because it seems that many people want to make it seem like Palestine is like the terrorist state that is there to destroy everything, everybody, and just basically is immoral, and they have no, not, they don't even have an argument to be outraged for anything, right? And the Israeli people are the victims. Obviously, like I'm saying, there's two sides of the story, because obviously some people flip the coin and they make Palestinians the victims and Israeli the terrorists. Like I was saying, I have no doubt the truth is in the middle, and really picking sides is kind of difficult because both sides have their, you know, cons, uh, good things and bad things to them, and nobody is really innocent, and probably is even difficult to really pick a victim. But once again, if you kind of go back to the idea that Palestinians has been there, Palestinian people have been there forever, and they just dropped Jewish people in the middle of them, that alone can give you a lot of shades to that story. But whatever. Once again, I'm not really in a position to speak about it. So I'm just wondering. But what's really frightening me, because there is a lot of conflict, even in different countries, between Palestinians and Jewish people. And what really rubs me the wrong way, to me, a lot of this is reminding me of the past summer protests, Black Lives Matters, all this sort of stuff. And obviously, it's completely different. I agree, and please don't take me out of the context, because I'm not saying it's the same. But what I'm saying is, there is a lot to it, that somebody wants to spark like riot type of situation. Somebody wants, basically, whoever is pushing all of this, and maybe nobody's pushing all of this, maybe it's just natural occurrence and it has been happening forever. There was always conflict there. But you see, it seems though that like somebody wants to spark some sort of shit, and it's, in my opinion, although it's tragic that people are dying, it's horrific, really, don't get me wrong. But in my opinion, it's yet another distraction to distract us from real issues. And it's frightening because instead of people getting together and basically figuring shit together, together we thrive, divided we don't. And yeah, it's yet another attempt to divide the nation, to divide the people of the world between each other. And obviously, this is going between Palestine and Israel, but in my opinion, in a bigger scheme of things, they just like pushing the division. And yeah, it's division between those two nations, but in overall, in my opinion, they really pushing just overall a division between people, blacks and whites, like Nazis and I don't know, progressive, woke people, transgender, against like regular people, gay. It's like we really. It seems in last year, mostly last year, it has been going for forever, but last year it has been really to a retarded level that everybody is dividing shit. And all this Black Lives Matter, there's division going on forever. And the people that supposedly fighting against racism, they are the most racist motherfuckers out there. And it's obvious, history loves to repeat itself. People that fight for freedom become tyrants. People that fight for racism are racist themselves. And so on, yada 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 yada. But why am I saying that? Because it's frightening that in the next step, a lot of stuff like that has been happening, in Germany before Germany became Nazis. And same shit goes for communism, you know, when communism took over. A lot of those sort of tactics has been implemented. And guess what's happening here? And guess what's happening all over the world? You know, like I was mentioning Poland. In my opinion, Poland is already kind of like a communist country because kind of government took over and you know like it's kind of similar like oh follow the science but they're not following the science and they're just locking shit down and doing whatever the fuck they want and basically oh be scared of the virus and we do whatever we want, you know. And in my opinion that's what's happening here, you know. They just destroying the family values. They want to push like fruitcake, pronouns, all this sort of shit, mambo jumbo. Guess what? Man and a woman, we good. I understand. You wanna be transgender? High five to you. I'm happy for you. Be transgender. I have no issue with you. But don't tell me how to live my life. And I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life either. Isn't that fair? Obviously it is. So what is all this bullshit fuss about? It's ridiculous. It's madness. Madness, if not mental retardation. And I'm not speaking about transgender. I'm just speaking in society terms in general. People are losing like common sense, critical thinking, ability of understanding of reality. And guess what? Somebody's propagating that shit. Somebody's pushing that shit. And that's why I hope I'm not going to be completely taken out of context, but that's why I'm saying this because we are getting played here. And by saying we, I mean all of us, white people, black people, Palestinians, Israeli, whatever, people from Europe, people from Africa, whatever it is, you know, a vaccine, political bullshit, masks, all this sort of stuff. We getting played right and left. And also another thing, all of this is like a play on emotion. They basically push emotional buttons in order to start shit up so people don't really question things. They focus on the shenanigans. And if you look at last year and a half, it really seems people have been focusing mostly on shenanigans. And yeah, you know, virus thing, yeah, that's like the beautiful convenient story that basically wipes all the arguments. Oh yeah, but the virus, yeah, sure. Think about the biggest corporations and billionaires are making more than ever. They taking over the whole economy and shit. They taking over the industries. Amazon is like a imperium by itself. The Amazon service on internet selling enterprise. It's literally taking over the world. China is taking over the world by basically because as far as I know, if I'm correct, I could be wrong, that many countries really suffered with their production and you know small business this and that, but China has been thriving through this, you know, and guess what? It came out of China, coincidentally, most likely, right? For sure, coincidentally, but you know. Think for yourself, you know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying coincidentally. That's what happened. And yeah, like biggest billionaires, somebody like Bill Gates, false prophet, motherfucking demon. Uh, Supposedly he's all for charity, this and that, and he's sharing his wealth. But somehow through the COVID thing, he made more billions than ever. Huh, or another coincidence, right? And yeah, it's because he's a good Samaritan and he make bunch of billions and it's just a coincidence. Obviously, we don't have anything to argue here because he's the best human ever and he wants to vaccinate everybody. And there was an opportunity for him to give vaccination technology to some sort of Indian lab or something. And he said, no, this is not possible because they don't have sufficient facilities to even run their formula, which is complete bullshit and it's just huge hypocrisy. Obviously, we, like me personally, and I believe critically thinking people know very well that, he has a stake in all of this, and he just doesn't want to share it. Poor people are dying. Who gives a fuck, right? That's, I guess, that's his point of view, not mine. Definitely not mine. So we go into some crazy fucking bullshit. The same thing, even touching on stock market. All this Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin itself could be, in theory, a very good system to kind of say fuck you to the man, and really possibly you could make really huge amounts of money on it, even if you buy at high price. Down the line you might make really, it could be a really great investment. What I understand about Bitcoin is like a money system or exchange system, value system that cannot be traced and cannot be controlled. But guess what? Listen to this. Last couple weeks and last couple days, when the Bitcoin started falling, it showed. But and everybody says, "Oh, Elon Musk wrote something. Elon Musk said something," and the shit fell like 30 something percent. So you're telling me it cannot be controlled, it cannot be manipulated, and then Elon Musk writes something and says something and it falls 30 something percent? What are we talking about? Somebody writes tweets and says something and something's happened and the stuff falls 30%. That's some sort of manipulation. So, right the way I can show you without any sort of even, deep research that this stuff can be manipulated and can be affected by, outside sources. But in theory, I agree, if this system is inflation proven, yeah, this is gonna explode to the roof, and Bitcoin is gonna be worth a couple hundred thousands, if not like a million, if not couple million, because the inflation is going out of this planet. And anybody that doesn't know about inflation, research inflation, because this is not funny what's happening. And that's what I'm saying. All over us, there is so many issues going down, and people are focusing on like racial stuff, like religious battles, and get vaccinated or not. It's like, what are we doing? In my opinion, the virus is already over for like a year and a half, even if not longer. But let's say, okay, let's be moderate, for like a year, right? Since last summer, in my opinion, the virus is over. Obviously, the media, fear mongering, uh, aficionados will tell you different. But uh, there is a lot of uh, interesting statistics when you look at like overall death rate over the years in any countries. It really seems that that rate doesn't even change, and there's a lot of things to it. But overall, uh, once again, let me tell you this. Obviously, super horrific that people die, and like, I do not want to shit talk on people that died, and it's not my intention, but it is factual, 100% true that this virus did not turn out anything to be as severe as people thought, as people anticipated, and as people also fear mongered about it. And unfortunately, but it's also true, huge numbers of people that died were already medically, impaired. There's huge amounts of people that died. They were already very sickly in many different ways. It's like, it's very horrific that people die, but it is true. And there's another thing, right? People say, oh, healthy people, all this sort of stuff, need to wear a mask, this, that. Sure, yeah, but the thing is, and I believe there's actually some really good research behind it, that actually the super spreaders are the people that are unhealthy to begin with, like with all of this sort of obesity, diabetes, all this sort of stuff. People that are already medically messed up, they are the dangerous ones, not the regular people that just want to live their life and not wearing a mask. And I know, obviously, a lot of stuff I'm saying could be very, very hard to swallow. And obviously, I'm speaking out of my ass. I'm no expert, but I'm just giving you my logic. You don't like it, turn this off. I'm fine. I don't really. But if you think I'm saying something that makes sense, which in my opinion it really does make a lot of sense, let's think about this because this is not a joke. And all this vaccination bullshit mambo jumbo that's going on right now, they literally pushing. So I was listening to De Blasio, and they were talking about vaccinations, this and that, and then he said something about vaccinations, meaning that, oh, if you vaccinate, you are pretty much almost free to live your life. And then he gave voice to all the experts. Obviously, they basically parrot whatever he said. Yeah, it is what it is. They're not gonna go against him for sure. And then after they finished, he said this to summarize: vaccinated equals freedom, non-vaccinated equals no freedom. Doesn't that sound like some sort of tyranny? Communism? Fucking Nazism bullshit? It does. But they've been beating this bullshit into our heads over a year now. Like for a very long time. Vaccination, vaccination, this and that. I don't want to argue vaccination is this virus vaccination is good or bad because I'm not knowledgeable enough, but I can tell you this for sure. If the vaccine has not been developed for a very long time, as a default, it's nothing to be sure of. So what the fuck we talking about? They trying to force vaccinate people. Obviously, officially not yet, but they making all the steps possible. Like they will try to push. And once again, officially is not there yet, but they already pushing it. Like even what he says, vaccinated equals freedom, non-vaccinated equals no freedom. Are we like we already like stepping into like some sort of tyranny, communism, Nazism, however you want to call it, and they not even hiding it, and people eat it up like it's hotcakes. And I don't get me wrong, you want to get vaccinated, you feel better because of it, you need it, this and that, all power to you. I'm not gonna hate on you because I understand everybody has their perspective, and I'm not saying my perspective is the ultimate truth, is the answer. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is all those vaccines have been rushed developed. They are signed, they basically are signed off that they have, whoever created those vaccines, they cannot have any repercussions from them. So that alone tells you like a huge part of the story. They don't want any sort of repercussions. So because they are not sure even if this is gonna work really well. And that's another thing. Is like there's people been vaccinating for months now, and the story keeps on switching. At the beginning they say, oh, vaccinate and wear a mask and social distance. What the fuck? So why am I vaccinating for? And then story keeps on changing because then slowly they start saying, oh yeah, but after vaccination you can actually take off the mask and even take off the mask indoors. Sure, that sounds great. I love it, and if that would be 100% implemented and life be normal, then I'm not really against it. I'm still kind of extremely skeptical about the vaccine, being really working and being legitimate. And I'm talking about virus vaccine. I'm not a vaccine denier in general. I'm just this virus vaccine once again was rushed, and vaccines in normal terms, in normal situations, vaccines are developed for many years, if not even decades. You telling me they developed a vaccine in a year and it's gonna be foolproof? It's all like just hypocrisy, double standard, and unbelievable. I don't know how people, and like they follow the science, yeah, but that's the thing. What I'm saying is actually my perspective is also kind of like following the science is in general in like normal life situations. Vaccines get developed through many years and through a long process, and also through studies, and also testing it, like a trial period and all of that. That's missing with all of this stuff here. How is that people just jumping at the vaccine and really, and on top of it, they're giving you like incentives, we're gonna give you like lottery cards, all this sort of stuff. They pushing it, even look at it how hard they are pushing it. And another shade to the story, there's a lot of people that are not vaccinated. I have not been vaccinated, and I have not had any sort of corona issues at all. And there is also shitloads of people that have not been vaccinated and they have no issue with corona at all. And I have been living my life. I have been touching people, kissing people, hugging people, shaking hands, all of this stuff. When I go to the train, I touch everything. I don't give a fuck. I'm not scared. And guess what? I'm completely fine. And yes, I'm a young, healthy individual that eats reasonably clean, works out, and lives uh, kind of, not really, but comparing to unhealthy people, I live a, quite a healthy lifestyle. So obviously, I don't have much to worry about, right? But why? Why? Because of all this vaccine, almost like it's not yet. I'm saying it's not implemented, but they doing everything to implement. Is they literally implementing, trying to implement vaccine tyranny, and you know, and another thing is, I said this on one of the podcasts, but it's very true. If you vaccinated, you should be protected from people that are not vaccinated. So what you are scared of if you vaccinated, the people that are not vaccinated, they are taking risks for themselves, not for the people that are vaccinated, because people that are vaccinated are protected. It's all just madness. And like this push, like follow the science, but those people don't follow the science. They don't even follow logic. And you telling me to follow the science, how about following some logic here, it's all madness. And obviously, once again, you know I'm no expert, and yeah, I'm speaking out of my ass. Yeah, I'm gonna be the first to tell you, but all of this shit, it's crazy. You telling me I'm not gonna be able to live my life because I don't want to take like a vaccine that's really kind of shady, and they telling you, oh, take 2 doses and all that sort of stuff. How weird is that? One dose doesn't work, 2 doses works. And yeah, of for sure, I don't understand that stuff, but it's just weird, like, doesn't that tell you, like, it's kind of weird that they want to jab you twice, and then, not now, but literally 2 weeks ago, they were saying, oh yeah, even if you take a vaccine, you should wear a mask and social distance. What's going on? So why am I taking the vaccine for if I supposed to wear a mask and social distance? How does that make sense? You telling me to follow the science when you don't even follow logic? And it's like I've been in situations where, technically speaking, if you look at all the guidance, this and that, I could and literally should get sick and should get corona, and I never did. So, I'm very skeptical with all of this stuff. It's like, and obviously, once again, going back to whole story at the beginning, when they really trying to create division, confusion, and basically move us into tyranny and basically emotional manipulation. The same thing goes with the virus, man. They just want to scare us into obedience. And if you look at the whole situation, not emotionally but logically, that is an obvious answer. So Take care of yourself, people. If you feel vaccination will help you, I'm all for you. High five, happy for you. If you feel vaccination, the virus vaccination is all fucking a scam and some sort of setup, and I'm not gonna go too far with saying what they are setting up, but in my opinion, it's like some sort of whatever it is, it's some sort of tyrannical bullshit. And let me tell you one more thing that happened yesterday or something. So 2 days ago or 3 days ago, Nancy Pelosi is saying, "Oh my God, people that are not vaccinated and breathing into other people's mouths, it's dangerous, this and that. And, how can we allow such a situation where not vaccinated people maybe come into Congress or something and breathe the germs and they are not masked, this and that." And then 2 days later, you see all of those people gathered in some sort of room. I don't know if it's in Congress or whatever, not social distancing, not having masks, and whatever. I'm all for it. Live your life, people. Everybody can live your life. But what I'm saying is that just huge double standard hypocrisy that is just a joke. Like I'm saying, we missing logic in all of this. It's only emotion, fear tactics, and like racial, religious. It's all based on emotion. It's all based on instincts. It's basically taking advantage of people's emotions, instincts, and basically they trying to destroy logic. They trying to destroy family values. They're trying to destroy, even common sense and also just general values, natural values. 20, 30 years ago, people had shitloads of values that they would follow and stick by. Now, people are like, in general, and now I'm generalizing. People are just narcissistic and, they don't even follow natural course of things, where like let's say, and once again, I have nothing against transgender people, but like small community of transgenders people trying to tell the whole population how to live their lives because they are oppressed. Supposedly they are oppressed. Yeah, in some situations they are, but in some situations, just live your life and leave everybody alone. How democracy works. If you are all for science and democracy, guess what? Majority wins in elections. So how come minority here is ruling stuff? Like transgenders athletes can beat women in their own sports. How does that make sense? There's stuff like people literally. There is some deranged people that say like, oh, women and men, it's only state of mind. There is no physiological differences. Literally, it's madness, madness, madness. But people, take care of yourself and, well, like I always say, think for yourself. Peace out.